Welcome to AMSSA's E-Symposium, introducing Canada's newest residents to its oldest peoples. We're very excited today to be able to do a provincial symposium on a fascinating topic about which you'll be learning a lot today and being able to engage in discussion and share ideas. Just a bit of background. AMSSA started doing these series, working with SFU, as a way to bring academic researchers and immigrant service providers together to share information and better connect. But we found that the model has worked really well, and so we've been extending it into other topic areas, not just research dissemination. So we've done more recently an E-Symposium on diabetes risk and on programming for ethnocultural communities, and also looking at things, for example, how to work with immigrant and refugee children. Today's topic has come, well, it's a topic certainly AMSSA has been very interested for many years, but it seems to be something that's becoming more and more to the attention of government and service providers, is the great potential there is for increasing mutual knowledge and the building of relationships between immigrant communities and First Nation populations around the province, and recognizing what a big variety there is within both those groups and yet how much could potentially be learned from one another. So we had a discussion with our primary funding ministry, Jobs, Tourism and Innovation, and they said, absolutely, we feel this is an important topic, and so they're funding the symposium today, and we really want to thank them for that. Certainly, you know, again, this reflects the recognition that not just introducing the immigrants and First Nation population together is the thing, but it's really about building a common community in Canada, and that's a lot about all the work we do. And yet we feel that First Nations have been kind of excluded in that process in a lot of cases for many years, which really, for obvious reasons, doesn't make a lot of sense. So what we're looking at are what happens in terms of the adoptions of myths, misconceptions, and not only Canadian misperceptions about Aboriginal people, but also those that people might bring with them from their source country, because Aboriginal populations exist around the world, and in some cases there's some very similar dynamics. So understanding what conceptions do people bring with them as immigrants, and what are they learning in the Canadian context, and how do we give them the opportunity to learn and interact. And that's what we want to explore today, because it's a very new area, and we're going to be learning about some really dynamic initiatives that some organizations and communities have, but also the potential to take those out into a lot more settings than is currently happening in British Columbia. Our presenters today are going to help us explore the topic and celebrate some of the work that's gone on within communities and service agencies. But before we begin that, a few housekeeping things. First, want to note to you that not only do we have, first of all, I want to thank people who are participating today, because we know many of you have just completed a grueling 2 or 3 or 4 month process of developing and submitting proposals so you can continue doing the work you do serving immigrant populations and taking on these kind of initiatives. So recognize that there may be some people who wanted to come today who couldn't, but really happy not only for the people in the room, but we've got roughly 150 people who are participating online today. So they are sitting at a computer or a TV or somewhere, and they're listening live, and they'll also be able to participate in terms of submitting questions later on and so on. So really, it's a lot more people than you see in the room today, a lot more. And there's a lot of interest in this from communities around the province. Each one has got a different history and a different setting and different you know, First Nations and immigrant populations, but all of them see the potential in this topic. So, simple reminders, please turn off your cell phones. If you're participating online, that may not be an issue, but if you're in the room, please check your cell phone. I already did mine. For those of you who don't know, I think most of you do, about AMSSA. We are an organization that was created by community multiculturalism and immigrant serving organizations to act as a provincial resource for networking and for doing these kind of activities that requires working together. We're, you know, there's a lot more about AMSSA than that, but in short, that's our role, and we're very pleased to have these opportunities and to work with our member agencies and government and and other funders to be able to do that. So just to explain the process today, we have 3 presentations, but we also have a special welcome for you before we begin the actual panel discussions. And then we'll have around 40 minutes for questions and answers, again, for people in the room, but also to be emailed in and to be presented by Melissa.